Hi, glad you're back. In part 1 of this video, we saw how finding words we don't understand while we're reading is no reason to panic. Many times we can find synonyms or antonyms that help us understand what the word means. Now in this video, we'll look at how sometimes you can infer the meaning of a word just based on the general sense of the passage, or sometimes based on what we already know about the topic. We'll also talk about transition words. You know what? Let's just go take a look. Hi, Mark here. This is Snap Language. Sometimes writers know a word needs to be defined, so they do just that. They explain or define the word for you, especially if it's an important keyword in the text. Let's take a look at this sentence. A certified white hat hacker can make as much as $150,000 a year. A what? Many people might not be familiar with the term white hat hacker, so the author may add an explanation or definition to the sentence. Certified white hat hacker, an ethical hacker who helps companies find security risks in their computer systems. Oh, now we know what white hat hackers are. They try to hack your computer system so they can fix holes in the system before a criminal hacker can take advantage of it. You may also see a word or an expression used as a transition. That's a signal that there's a definition or an explanation there. Meteorites are leftover material from the formation of the solar system. Perhaps some readers may not know exactly what meteorites are, so the author may use commas and the word or to signal the definition. It's as though the transition here is saying, hey, look, a definition is coming up here. Meteorites, or any chunks of rock or metal reaching the Earth from outer space, are leftover and so on. How about this? Here, the writer used also known as to introduce an explanation or a synonym to clarify the word. Meteorites, also known as shooting stars, and so forth. Sometimes the clue is in the general sense of the sentence or paragraph, or even in the general sense of the whole passage. Can you figure out what mollify means here? The manager insulted all the employees in the office. Everyone was furious, so he gave them a day off in an attempt to mollify them. Well, you can figure out what mollify means here because you know the manager angered the employees, then he gave them a day off. You can infer that the manager gave them a day off to make them less upset, to mollify them. Let's do another one. Can you tell which context clues make clear what extemporize means? Don't use a dictionary though. An excellent speaker, Fatima has a remarkable ability to extemporize. She was asked to speak at the board meeting last week. She gave an impressive 15-minute talk, even though she had no idea they were going to ask her to present. If you need some time to think, pause the video now. Extemporize is not a very common word, but this paragraph has plenty of clues. First, it says that Fatima has this amazing ability to extemporize. Next, it gives you an example of a situation where she was asked to speak, she did really well, but she hadn't even prepared anything, so she extemporized, meaning she improvised or performed without preparation. We talked about transition words that signal that some information is being presented. In this example, the author actually could have used one of those. For instance here would make clear that the second portion of the paragraph is an example of Fatima's ability to extemporize. Sometimes going on your prior knowledge or what you already know helps you understand a word or even a passage as a whole. That's why the more you read, the more you know about the world in general, and the more stuff you know, the better you become at predicting and understanding new information. What does meeting one's demise mean here? According to some theories, dinosaurs met their demise when a 6-mile-long asteroid hit the Earth 65 million years ago. Well, you may have read about this before, or perhaps you watched a documentary about it. There's a theory that an asteroid impact may have caused, or at least contributed to, the extinction of dinosaurs. So, even if you never heard the expression meeting one's demise before, you have a good idea what it means based on your prior knowledge of the topic. And do these techniques always work? Unfortunately, no. Especially if what you're reading does not make sense because of that word, you must look it up. But remember, if you're reading to understand the content, you should focus on understanding the content, not on learning vocabulary. Let's say you're reading this paragraph. Although there is nothing unusual about syzygy in the cosmos, many people attach meaning to such events. As recently as 1974, a rare instance of syzygy caused some people to panic. The only context clue is that syzygy is related to astronomy. I see no definition or example of syzygy, nor do I know of any syzygy way back in 1974. So what do we do now? Well, in this case, you should ask, is this word so important in the passage that you need to stop reading to look it up? If the paragraph or passage makes no sense because of this word, then you probably should look it up. But if you can understand it as a whole without knowing this word, maybe it doesn't really matter. The bottom line is, if you feel you need to know what syzygy means, by all means, stop reading and look it up. Well, now you know that you don't have to interrupt your reading every time you find a new word. The author may have included a synonym or an antonym, maybe an explanation or a definition for the word. Sometimes all you need to do is relate that information to something you already know. What's really important is to enjoy your reading and learn without unnecessary interruptions. Later, you can always go back and look up the exact meaning of new words. However, at that point, you're not reading to understand the content anymore, you're just studying vocabulary. Oh, by the way, in the context we saw here, when planets and other celestial bodies align, it's called syzygy. Of course, there's a time to learn vocabulary, but that's a different video. For now, just get out there, read a lot, and get some practice using context clues to understand words you don't know. And remember, Snap Language is a community of learners, so share your experiences with us. Let us know what works for you. How do you deal with unknown vocabulary while reading? Is there something else you do that maybe we left out of this video? Please subscribe to Snap Language. This is the way we can grow the channel and produce more videos for you. Until the next time, thanks for stopping by and watching this video.